Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and I'm doing something a little bit different today, a book review which I've never done before because I don't get them early, but this is a special book. This is a book that Games Workshop have not made, no, but it does look like one. This is Wrath and Fury. This is a fan-made supplement and I love it, and anyone that enjoys AT probably love it too. I love fan-made stuff. I'm a fan of the fans. There's loads of good stuff that's been done over the years in all kinds of games. The fans have carried a lot of games. They carry an AT now. They carried Blood Bowl. They carried Epic Armageddon. They still are carrying it. So why can't we do it? So this was made and it's a nice piece. There you go. Some Titan Manipuls. There's fluff in there. There's missions, all kinds of stuff. We'll go through it. So, a lot of you that are on Facebook probably would have seen this. Some of you might have copies. Disclaimer, don't know how to get a physical book. This was passed along and given to me. So, but stay tuned because there's a nice little surprise about this. So you can actually use it. So stay with us and we'll go through it. A little bit of background. So the creator wasn't fussed about being named. So I'll respect that and not do it. And a little bit of background I got from them. So I'll read this out just as a bit of background if you're interested. This was developed by a few of us in the Bristol area as a local campaign between friends, both as a means to get a couple of Crusade Legios shoehorned in, especially a Legio that could synergize with the new Mechanicum constructs, and as a way for everyone in our group to be on the same page when it comes to aftermarket weapons, because we've got, I can find it, whoa. New stratagems, new weapon traits, relevant. We've got tons, we've got pages of new weapons. And a lot of these will synergize nicely with the Battle Bling stock. And again, we'll come back to the new weapons and Battle Bling a little bit later. The actual fluff is based around a bit of heresy lore. They've got a very brief mention in Anthony Reynolds' book Dark Creed about Legio Vurus, and gives a quick mention about their victory over a Legio, Gryphonicus and Victorum. So this is what we've got, Wrath and Fury. That's the background, made by a little group of gamers in Bristol. Thank you very much for this book, by the way. I'm very, very pleased and very, very grateful. When I heard it was doing the rounds, I was quite excited to see it and very pleased to actually have a copy. So let's get into it. Let's have a look at the book. And hope you enjoy it as much as I do. So let's have a look in the book and let's cut to the chase. How can you use this and how can you read it for yourself? And as you can see on the screen, I've got a PDF picture there. This is available, the whole book, and you'll see what's in it in a minute. You can download it yourselves. It is available on the Battle Bling website, and I will provide a link in the description. So head over there, get yourself a copy. You can read it for yourself, or you can carry on watching the video. I think it's great that they've done this. It's a great thing to get out there, and you'll see why. So what's the book about? The book is about the massacre at Parnassus, which is a system, which is a good Mandeville point, and the Retribution fleets leave from Terra under Dawn, and they're going to blockade traitor planets, and specifically Cultists in this one. So they head off to the Parnassus system, and the fleet's going to stay there. They're going to take the system, and then the rest of it's going to jump off onto Cultists. Then it focuses on some battles on Moon, which is Moon Zeta 167V, which has a small industrial Mechanicum outpost there, and it's garrisoned by Gryphonicus. And they are surprise attacked by the Legio Vurus. There's some cool combat stuff in there. The fluff's really good. There's a great bit including a Titan with assault rams and boarding terminators, and we'll come back to that later because it's really relevant. Then off to row 1214/4-B2. It's another moon. It's a mining facility, and here we meet the Legio Victorum, and you can look them up on Google. They're not featured in the Loyalist book, but they do exist, and there is fluff online for those. And again, the combat there and the Titan battles. So it's all very good. The lore is nice, and it sets the scene for the rest of the book and the rules.
So let's have a look at the first Legio that they've created. It's the Legio Vurus, the Terrors. And as you can see, they got a full breakdown of their lore, which I'm not going to go into. Again, recommend you download the book. And then it's got their rules. So they're quite an aggressive, brutal Legio without mercy. And they've got a Legio trait to motive mastery, which gives them +2 to the result of any command checks when issuing charge or full stride orders. So that's that super aggressive part. And then personal brutality, this is going to be the brutal part. Any Legio Vurus Titan equipped with melee weapons may reduce the Titan's weapon skill by 1 for each arm weapon equipped with a melee trait. So their weapon skill is going to go from 4 to 3, and then that can be improved if you're using certain Manipuls. So they want to get up close and rip you to bits, which is always nice. They've got their own version of tracking gyros. This is war gear for 10 points. Now, they haven't said so, and there are some things in this book that I could FAQ or ask for FAQ, because it's either I don't understand it or there's an error, and you'll see some of that. It's 10 points for tracking gyros. So can you stick this on a War Master for 10 points? Doesn't really say you can't. Legio specific war gear, carbon trilerite tips. Have I read that right? Any Legio Vurus, I find that very hard to say, melee weapon can be upgraded to have carbon trilerite tips for 10 points per weapon. A Titan with this war gear upgrade may add 1 to the dice value for each upgraded weapon. So getting an extra attack. So they are super brutal. Personal traits, D3 roll, or choose if you wish. Faith in the gods, the Princeps Titan may sacrifice a servitor to appease the machine spirit, granting all voids back to full health. Reduce the servitor clade value by 1 each time this trait is used. That does seem quite strong. Maybe it'd be, it's only my opinion, maybe it's a once per game, and then you're reduced to those servitor clades, reduced by 1 for the rest of the game. But to do it for every time you burn a servitor, that's quite strong. Unquestioning belief, the Princeps Titan never suffers penalties to their command checks and may ignore the effects that force them to re-roll successful command checks. And brotherhood in faith, should a Legio Vurus Titan fall in combat, the Princeps Titan may re-roll once any failed dice when rolling to hit against the unit responsible for the remainder of the round. So that's a one-rounder. So it depends on when you lose that engine, whether you've activated your Titan or not. So the winner there for me is faith in the gods. So that's the rules they've come up with Vurus. You don't have to use these, but it's great that people are making up their own stuff. I would definitely consider using these on the channel with my Legio Serpentis for the lulz. So the next and final creation of Legios is the Legio Arcano, and these are like super mysterious. They've messed with the Dark Mechanicum, they've opened up some things they probably shouldn't have, and their engines are infected with scrap code and sounds like something a bit worse. So they're very mysterious and they're very cool, and they've got a really nasty little trait which I think would be really fun for some narrative games. So straight in with stratagems, they've got a version of sabotage for 2 points, and then they've got a Legio trait, which I think is another stratagem because it's got it in brackets 1. So it might be an error there. Logical detachment, Legio Arcano Titans may ignore the awakened machine spirit result when rolling the reactor die and instead simply advance the reactor by 1. So I think it is a stratagem. I think if you roll the machine spirit on the die, I think you can throw this down and just push it by 1 heat. So this is super fun. This is war gear and it's got no points. So I'm going to assume that all engines have these. I think it should probably be pointed. Because it's quite strong, especially if it goes off, because it's just going to happen anyway. It's just something you get to do. So I think it should be pointed, but all engines have to have it, if that makes sense. And you can make up your own points. There's nothing stopping you. So Nospheric Jack. Any Legio Arcano Titan making an attack within 2 inches of an enemy Titan may use its Nospheric Jack, in addition to any other weapons used during the action. Roll a d6 to hit. On a successful hit, the player may roll a d10. It's quite hard to get off, but on an 8 to 9, the target immediately issues the shutdown order And I would do this at shock, like shock. It doesn't say, but I would have it pop up at the end of the round again, however shock works. So that's what I would do with that. And then if you roll the 10, system override, the target unit becomes a part of the Legio Arcano and is treated as any other unit in the Legio. You get a Titan, and then that engine can't be issued orders and can't push the reactor. I think it's super fun. I'd love to have a go at that. And then more war gear, networked anima. The Legio Arcano Titan may be equipped with networked anima for 10 points. This one has points. A Titan with this upgrade may use the command value of a friendly model within 6 inches that is networked anima. Okay, so that's actually really cool because you can have your warhounds running alongside Reavers. You know, if you can keep a warlord, then you can use their command value, which is good for orders. So I can see how that's useful. 10 points is probably about right, I suppose. And then the personal traits, again, D3 or select, whatever you want to do. And they've got all Mechanicum style names. You can see that. I'm not going to mean the bottom ones 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, and all that stuff. So that's quite fun. So I'm just going to go with the first one, number 1. The command node Titan adds 1 to the result of any command check issued against it. Okay. Number 2, the command node Titan may reroll once any single failed command check when issuing orders to other units. Okay. And the third one, at the start of the strategy, the first round, any knight banner within 8 inches, the command node Titan, which is Princeps, I'm guessing, may be redeployed. These units can be deployed anywhere that would normally be allowed to deploy by the mission being played. I think that's probably the winner there. It's always useful to redeploy, especially something as fast as knights. So yeah, that's Arcano. Really mysterious, really dark, especially with all the dark Mechanicum stuff that's coming out. It might be fun to run them with some of the spider bots, but the new Spheric Jacks I think are really fun, really good for some games. I would probably just chuck in some points there if you were running an event or something and you wanted to use these. So moving on, they have new Titan Manipuls in the book. Let's start with the Intervallum Support Maniple. So mandatory components, 1 Warbringer, 2 Direwolf and 2 Armiger banners. Optional components, 2 Armiger banners. Maniple trait, targeted fire. Any friendly Armiger knight banner that has line of sight to a target unit that was within 16 inches of the banner reduces the ballistic skill of any Titan within the Intervallum Support Maniple by 1 to a minimum of 2. So it's improving your ballistic skill, in addition to increasing the weapon's long range by 4. So the Armiger's scouting out and drawing lines of sight and increasing ballistic skill of your engines. That is nothing to be sniffed at, and very strong. I like that it's got the Armigers in there. So we have the Aegis Battle Line Maniple, and this is really interesting. So the first thing I've noticed, so mandatory components is 1 Warlord, 2 Direwolf, and then optional components is 1 Warlord, 2 Warhound. So that's like 6 engines. So I don't know if that's intentional or not. So there are a few things in this book that I'm not sure about or need answers to, or they're just, mistakes or not. So there's 6 potential engines, I think, in this maniple by the looks of it. And then the maniple trait, Walking Fire. At the beginning of the strategy phase, the Princeps Titan may declare a Walking Fire order. If successful, the player may then swap the movement and combat phase during the round for all units within that maniple. In addition, the player gains +1 when making a command check for a Walking Fire order. No other orders may be given for that round. So one player is moving and the other player is doing the combat phase, and vice versa. It's just for this player. I think that's really clever. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I don't know if it needs the +1 command check for Walking Fire order. And it does appear that you can do this every round. I wonder if it would be better if it was a 1 round. I mean, these guys have played with this, and they seem happy with it. This is part of their campaign. It's part of their gaming group. So they seem to be happy with it. You can do it every round, but it does sound, I don't know if it's strong or not, but it's definitely interesting. I just like that it makes it all a bit topsy-turvy. So again, this one definitely looks fun to try. Then on to the Impetum Assault Maniple. Mandatory is 1 Reaver, 1 Warhound, 1 Cerastus. Optional is 1 Warhound and 2 Cerastus. So again, it's got an extra slot in there. The Manipul trait, Experienced Brawler. A unit with this trait reduces the weapon skill value of each weapon equipped with a melee trait to a minimum of 2+, so improving your weapon skill. And that's all units. It's going to benefit the engines more. I mean, the Warhound's got no melee weapons, so it's just going to be your Reaver actually. And the Cerastus banners are pretty much hitting on 2+. So it's in there, but I don't really think the Manipul trait has much of an advantage. A lot of the melee weapons, even for the Reaver, you're getting good pluses to hit, so you're hitting on probably 2s anyway. So it's in there, but I don't know if you'd ever use this one. And then the last one is the Prosus Recon Manipul. Really testing my ability to read this book. So mandatory components is 1 Reaver, 1 Warhound, 1 Cerastus, and optional is 1 Warhound, 2 Cerastus. So it's the same mandatory and optional components as the last Manipul, and then their traits from Out the Shadows. When setting up, the controlling player may always choose to deploy after the opposing player set up all their forces on the battlefield. In addition, to reflect the advanced coordination of an attack made by this Manipul, all models in a Prosus Recon Manipul do not need to make a command check for any order during the first round, regardless of any other trait or strategy in play. So this is much better to the previous Manipul with the same engines. Again, I'm not sure if this is intentional or a mistake. But this is very cool. Being able to deploy your engines after your opponent is quite strong. And with all those knights, giving them full strides and stuff without having to roll is pretty good. In fact, orders for everything potentially could be quite strong, but very situational, let's say. So then moving on, there's a large section of the book covering all the narrative missions they've created for the massacre at Parnassus. I won't go through all these. But again, highly recommend you download the book and you'll have all these games to play. And you can play out the whole narrative that they've written. And with new missions come new stratagems. So I am jumping around the order a bit of the book just because it makes more sense for this video. And they've got some Black Shield Legio stratagems, which is nice. Together as one, friendly knight support banners may apply the Legio's trait as if they were part of the Legio, in so long as the trait does not specifically or necessary consequence rule out knight banners. So if you've got vassal knights and you don't want to go loyalist or traitor, you've painted them up, that would work really well, and it's probably quite strong. You can give some, some Legios got some good traits, so giving them to knights would be really interesting. Old habits for 1 at the start of the game. The Black Shields Legio may select a single trait from any Legio or any single trait normally available to a specific alliance. So you adding that or replacing one, I think adding by the looks of it, again, that's very strong. And then Beneficence of the Omnissiah for 1. Any knight support banners within a Black Shield Titan force may apply the beam trait to any equipped Volkite weapons within the banner. And then those for you running knight households, there's some strats. Concentrated Fire for 1. Knights in a banner with 2 or more knights equipped with weapons with the rapid trait gain +1 to the weapon's strength characteristic. That's going to improve those Gatlings, makes them strength 3 to strength 4. So allied armor, and in the beginning of the book, designer's note, they actually say that they're utilizing some of the Legion's kits in their missions, and they're using it in a stratagem here. So for 80 points, the player may take a tank squadron of 4 main battle tanks. It looks like you can use any models you wish. As an auxiliary force, these tanks operate under the same rules as a knight banner in all respects and have the following stats. So they're giving them scale, a ballistic skill and a weapon skill, command value, speed 11, structure points, and then they've given them a main weapon and a secondary weapon. Main battle tank may be upgraded to take sponsor weapons. So these are probably Russes. And the sponsons can target enemy units, suffers a strength 4 hit. So they're a bit like Ardex defense guns. So yeah, that's very cool. Just a nice little perk there. This is quite strong. Boon of Mars. So at the beginning of the game, this is for 2 strat points. Mechanicum Knight variants may swap their ballistic skill stats for their weapon skill stats for the duration of the game. In addition, any Mechanicum Knights with the Rending trait roll d6 instead of d3 after rolling a 6 during an attack. And now we're on to the Ishita Inana, I believe. These are corrupted warlords who have made a pact with Erebus and the Word Bearers. They believe there's no more than 8 of them. And they've got the mutations here, I believe that they all just have. And then the points for them. So this is what they come with. It has the base mutation Overwhelming Rage and Minor Corruption Preternatural Regen, which is in the main book. On the right hand side, the personal traits are the same as the traitor book as well. But what's new is the Minor Corruption Warp Sight. So any corrupted Legio Vurus Titan may be equipped with Warp Sight for 15 points. A Titan equipped with this corruption ignores any modifier or effect that blocks or prevents normal acquisition of a target, except Psi Titans. So concealment barrages, blind barrages, cover modifiers, I guess. So that's quite strong. And then specific war gear, sonic weapons. So much like the Psi Titan has its own special weapon, you can equip this corrupted engine on its left arm slot. You can pick one or the other. It's got a sonic shredder, which is short 15, long 30, accuracy 2+ at short, 2 attacks, strength 8+ with a star, 60 points. Now it's got traits corrupted, blast, 5-inch, limited 8, and consume 2. Now some of these traits, corrupted and consume, we haven't got to yet because I've put the new weapon traits and all the new weapons together in its own section. That's coming up. And the Sonic Screamer, short dash, long 24, 8 attacks, starred, strength 4, 55 points. Again, corrupted, shield main, limited 8, indiscriminate, and consume 1 with a star. So a bit mysterious at the moment, but we'll look at those traits soon. Okay, so we are onto weapon traits and all the weapons, and there's loads of them. So let's start with corrupted. So weapons with the corrupted trait may only be used by Titans with the traitor allegiance and have at least 1 base mutation, which goes back to the sonic weapons we just saw. Indiscriminate. Weapons with the indiscriminate trait do not roll to hit, instead place a 5-inch marker at the end of the maximum range and draw a straight line from the edge of either side of the marker to the barrel of the weapon. Any unit within this area automatically hit and receive a number of hits equal to the weapon's dice characteristic. And then fear. Night banners moving with a specified range of a Titan with the fear trait must immediately halt and make a command check. If the command check is failed, the player rolls against the following. 1 or 2, all units within the banner must back away from the Titan d6 inches. 4 to 5, the banner is immediately shaken, and 6 is no effect. They conquer their fear, so that's quite fun. So consume, not going to lie, this one is confusing me a little bit, but I'll give it a go. Hopefully you can drop it in the comments what it means. So weapons with the consume X trait, after the limited X trait, can choose to consume 1 or more shots from the limited number of shots available, in brackets, to boost a certain characteristic, by the consume value, in brackets, for each additional shot consumed. So the sonic weapon has, one of them, has consume 2, and it's got strength 8+. So if you reduce, and it's limited 8. So if you munch 2 of the limited shots, you can increase the strength to 10. I think that's how it's working. This one is, my little lizard brain can't cope with this one, so you have to help me out. Inspire, +1 to command rolls for all friendly units within 12 inches of a unit with this trait. And here we have deploy, and this is for assault rams, which is what I mentioned at the beginning with the lore, and it talks about that and the Terminators getting into a Titan. So when a weapon with deploy trait makes a successful attack against a Titan, in addition to any damage generated from the attack, the player may also deploy a boarding party against the target Titan. After a successful attack on the subsequent strategy phase, and after any orders are issued, the defending player rolls a d6 against the following table. 1, deployment failed, no effect. 2 to 3, compromised, re-roll on the next strategy phase. 4 to 5, sabotage, reactor track is moved to amber. And 6, reactor overload, see Adeptus Titanicus rulebook. It's going to go kaboom. Before the defending player rolls against the above table, the defending player may instead choose to issue a shutdown order. If successful, the boarding squad are considered killed and the defending player may no longer be required to roll against the above table. Stun. Any unit that moves within the specified range of a Titan with the stun trait must immediately halt and make a command check. If the command check is failed, the player must roll against the following. 1 to 3, the unit halts and remains where it is and loses any orders they were issued. 4 to 5, roll for fear, and 6, no effect. And my personal favourite is shield. I have a Titan with a shield, and we'll see that in a minute. And up until now, I've just been using it as a power fist, but this is very cool. A weapon with the shield trait has a number of armor points equal to the number in brackets. A unit with a weapon with the shield trait can transfer any unsaved hits to the armor points on the weapon's armor track instead, including any hits from a targeted attack. In addition, a weapon equipped with a shield may add +1 to the strength value when making a smash attack. Note, as a physical barrier, a shield is not affected by weapon traits that affect void or iron shields. So as you saw on the previous slide, there was a page of Reaver Weapons, and there's about 6 pages of weapons for all the different engines. There's loads. And what's great about this is that a lot of them are based around the third-party sellers, especially Battle Bling. They do a load. Tarot do a few bits and bobs. The shield on my Reaver that you can see is from Tarot. It's for an armature, but it fits perfectly. I've modified the arm. I've got the sword there from Battle Bling. And as you can see, I now have weapons that I can use with their own traits for this model, and I'm really looking forward to it. So we've got the shield there, and you can see it's got 4 armor points, so I can take 4 hits and just deflect them off the shield. You know, that's addition to your voids as well, so that's very, very cool. And then the sword is a fusion blade, which basically it's got a template. It fires a flamer template, as well as using it in close combat with the melee trait. So it's got fusion, firestorm, and melee. And yeah, very, very good. I'm very, very much looking forward to using Achilles there, my Taurus close combat beast. And then after all the pages of weapons, and you'll have a lot of fun looking through those and seeing what you want to try and use, they've added the Warbreaker rules from Battle Bling. The rules that I wrote, I think they might have tweaked a few bits, but essentially it's all there. And they've even written rules for all the new weapons that they've released, which I haven't done. So that's a nice little surprise, and I'm very pleased about that. So if you have a Warbreaker, or you want to get a Warbreaker, here's a place where you can get the rules. And then last but not least, there's a little plug for everyone. Look, Battle Bling, Maximal Fire, and myself. So my only gripe with this book is that they've put us below Maximal Fire. What the fuck? But other than that, it's a really great effort. It's a really nice book. The presentation, as you can see, is immaculate. It's not perfect, but damn sure is it as good as a fan-made book that you'll find at the moment, especially for AT. So download it, have a play with it. You can tweak it. I'm very grateful that they've done it. Thanks to the guys from Bristol for sending me a hard copy, and thanks to the guys from Bristol for making this available for everyone. So download it. The link's in the description below. Enjoy it, and I'll see you next time for more thrill spills and engine kills.